Here's why not going to college has been the single best decision of my entire life. If you don't want to go $100,000 in debt, party for 4 years, and most importantly, I think wasting the four most crucial years of your life, what do you actually do though? Because a lot of people that I talk to say they don't want to go to school, but they just don't know what else to do. So they're going to spend the next 4 years trying to figure out the rest of their life. And why not? I guess that's what everyone does. So I guess I should just take out a humongous loan and just bite the bullet and go to school, because that is what is normal. Before I tell you what you should do, I mean, everyone says just start a business, hustle, work hard, but what does that actually mean? I think a lot of people, and I was very much included in this, I didn't know where to start or what to start doing to work hard or to start a business because you have no practical skills. All these gurus say that you should start a business, hustle, work hard, but what does that actually mean? I mean, how do you just start a business when you have no life experience, you have no skills, and you can't solve any problems for anyone? Before I tell you how you can do something like that, because I think most people watching this video would rather start a business and work incredibly hard for that business than waste 4 years of their life going to college or even high school for that matter, but you don't know where to start. I think this way to going about it is completely wrong. But first, let's go back in history. In the Roman Empire, what was the structure of education like? Did you see these big colleges and have one professor teaching 100 students mathematical equations and science and all these different things? No. What did you have? You basically had a version of a mentor, which would go on long walks with apprentices, which would just learn everything they could from these gurus, per se, that have already lived their life and have already started their business, has already made their wealth. And everybody would follow these guys and just listen in on what they were going to say. And these people would tell them the life experiences that they had, so these younger children could get a leg up on their competitors. Then what happened? You started in early America. What was education like? If you wanted to start a business or get into a practical skill, you would pretty much right out of school. You wouldn't go to college. No, you would go and apprentice under someone, working directly hands-on in the field that you wanted experience for, trying to find the best possible person to work for. I think you know where I'm going with this, to apprentice yourselves under someone, to find a strong mentor. But that goes to, how do you actually do this? I'm someone who I'm fortunate enough to be getting casual dinners with Robert Kiyosaki now. I work with some of the most intelligent people on the planet in the finance space and the macroeconomics, which I am incredibly passionate about. But how did I actually start working with these guys and hanging out with them every single day? That is what I'm here to show you. In high school, I knew that I did not want to go to college. In fact, I was running a business in the majority of high school, but that got shut down during COVID. So what do? Like most people, you just kind of start looking up, you start reading books, listening to some podcasts, trying to figure it out. And then I started to get down to macroeconomics. And that doesn't really have to do what this video is about, but I became hyper obsessed with macroeconomics to where I would listen to like quite literally 10 to 15 hours worth of podcast during my senior year of high school, because we were completely virtual. So I didn't go to school a single day. Instead, I studied macroeconomics the entire time because I was hyper obsessing over it. I did love it, and I still do. But I thought that if I could figure out what these guys were saying, I would have a better idea of what I want to do for the future. So let's say I would listen to 15 podcasts a day, and there would be 15 different guests, and I was doing that every single day. I would email every single guest that they had on 100% of the time and ask them if I could work for them for free. I told them that I would do absolutely anything, and I would just basically give them the spiel. I was a 18-year-old kid. I'll do literally anything for you. I'm just incredibly motivated. I want to work for you for free. And I sent that email to quite literally 250 people. And 2 people I heard back from. Both of them basically told me to pound sand, which is funny enough. And I thought, no, like this goes against anything that I've ever heard. They tell you to just work hard and then your dreams are going to come true. But that's not how it works. And now looking back, that was the most selfish decision I have ever made. If someone with my business that I'm running today, someone came up and said, I will work for you for free and I'll do anything, I wouldn't know what to do with you, because I'm going to have to train you for a few years and you don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to have to dumb down my speech, and that's going to slow down production. That's going to take away a bunch of time. It is more of a burden to take on a young apprentice if they don't know what they are doing. So how would I go about it if I was going to work for someone? Because I do this all the time. Whenever I'm getting new clients, I'm fortunate enough to have the emails or connections to where I can get a phone call with most people today in the field that I'm in. So it's incredibly selfish for me to ask these people to work for them for free. And I realize that now. So how would I go about it? And how did I eventually apprentice myself under someone? And how would I do it again? I started working for George Gammon, and he was my absolute hero. In fact, I have a rebel capitalist tattoo on my left leg after I read Atlas Shrugged. I was literally the biggest fan of all time. So how did I start working for him? First off, he was having a meetup in Arizona for his birthday party. He basically said, if anyone wants to come, you can go. I live in Boston, or I did live in Boston, and I had never been on a plane in my entire life. It was my senior year of high school. And I said, shit, if I don't do this, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. So I book a flight, go to Arizona and meet him for the first time. We talked. My heart was pounding out of my chest. This is the first time I've met someone who was an actual hero of mine that I look up to and that I want to strive to be like. And I completely choked under pressure. I mean, I was stuttering. We only talked for maybe 2 minutes, but what did I do? I showed him that I had the Rebel Capitalist tattoo. I was obviously an eager young fellow, probably the youngest there by a few decades. And he gave me his personal email, which for these guys who are incredibly successful, getting their personal email is a very big deal. So I didn't email him right away. In fact, I didn't email him at all, but he was having another meetup as first Rebel Capitalist in Miami. And then I went to that event, of course, like I was going to. And then I met a few other people and they were saying, hey, let's go down to Vegas. So I got another opportunity by going to that event, networking myself and proving my value through having discussions and proving my worth, showing them what I actually knew and giving them feedback on what they know, having a proper discussion. And coincidentally, we were going to be in the Arizona area. And I just shot out the email to George and said, hey, do you want to get dinner? I'm with a few people who went to your live event and it would mean the world to us. We would just like to pick your brain. And he fortunately agreed to get dinner with me and one other buddy. And after that dinner, a few weeks later, George emailed me and said, what do you do for work? Do you need a job? And that was the best day of my life. And this was maybe a 6-month long process. While I was still watching 15 hours of Macro Podcast, I was still emailing every single podcaster that I was listening to, because no matter what, I was forcing myself into working with one of these guys. But eventually, the person who I looked up to the most, I got the job with. And now I'm going to tell you the psychology of how I got that job, how I would do it again today if I had to apprentice myself under someone. So why did I get the job with George? It was because I proved my worth. First, I got the email because I was having an intellectual discussion with him. I showed him how much of a super fan I was. Then when we got dinner, I talked and we communicated, and right when you start talking to someone, you will know how much of an understanding of the monetary system they have through an hour-long dinner discussion. And we were talking incredibly high-level stuff. So if you're doing that, they're going to see you are not a waste of space. And if that is someone who you're going to hire, they already have the proof of work that they know what you're talking about and they can provide value. So he said, you can come on and be my research assistant. That was pretty much how I got the job, because I had the proof of work. So if I was going to apprentice myself under someone today, and with the business that I currently have, it is running a lot of social medias for people in the macro space. How do I get new clients? Basically, what I do is I know what they need help with because I have the skill set to match what they need by working on the skill set for a long period of time. And I know what they're lacking. You can see it almost instantly. So I will solve their problem for them. And I'll do it for a month for free. I'll just send it to them, keep on showing them how great the results will be. And sometimes they'll use the work, sometimes they won't. And I'm doing this completely out of pocket. But what happens? If I'm good at what I'm doing, then they're going to say, hey, you know what? I want you to continue to do this work. So let me just take you on as a client. Therefore, I'm starting to do this for all these other people, things that a skill set that I got to have. When I tell people how to work for these people, find holes that they have in their business model and solve it for them for free. And if you can do that, they're going to want to keep you around because they have the incentive. For example, I'll give you guys a million different tips in the future, but just one. Look at what the best people in the space do for whatever space you want to be in. For me, it was the YouTube macroeconomics side. Who are the best people in your space? For me, it was macroeconomics. And what is every single step that they do? And just learn it, write it down, and figure out why they're doing everything that they're doing. And then you look at the mid and smaller tier players YouTubers and see if they are doing those things. I would say they are probably not, because the people at the very top, they have the budget and they're throwing the money at the things, but they would not be doing those smaller tasks if they did not make a difference. So what I'm doing is I'm doing those smaller tasks for all of the other YouTubers who are not the absolute biggest of the big, but also want that to be done for them. They just don't have the time nor the resources to do it themselves. So how can you take that and figure it out? Because maybe you probably don't want to work in macroeconomics. Not many people do. Maybe yours is real estate, or it could be the most random thing ever. It could be weed growing. Learn absolutely everything on the topic that you possibly can. Spend 6 to 12 months learning everything. Watch every single podcast, read every single book, and I mean everything. And then just start reaching out to these people and trying to get a discussion and just show them how much you actually know about the topic. After you learn everything you can about a subject and you think that you can provide actual value, then just start reaching out to the local business owners, to the people that you look up to, and do anything you can to get in a room with them. I am probably the most persistent human on the planet getting into these rooms, and I have no shame. And I think it might be annoying at times, but if I really want to have like a sit down discussion with somebody, I will just reach out until they either block me or we end up getting a discussion. And I have made the best friendships and business partners that I've ever had because of that reason.